Alyssa Reynolds here. It is wonderful to see all of you again for another Saturday and another episode in my ongoing series about communicating with spirit and the variety of practices that I encourage all of you to do as you are on this journey. So today is all about building confidence and stepping forward. It very much goes hand in hand with the very first video I did a number of weeks back about building belief. You don't fully have belief until you have confidence, but I haven't brought this one up until now, because building confidence also comes with stepping forward. And with stepping forward, you do want to have a number of skills under your belt so that when you are stepping forward, you have a whole foundation upon which to stand confidently. And it is something that I have talked about before. Those of you who have been following me for a while will probably recommend a few of the things that I'm talking about from some of my videos about stepping forward as a light worker, as well as videos just about confidence and belief. However, today I wanted to go into the more narrowly focused direction of what are the practices you can do. Because I've talked about the theory and the philosophy of building confidence and why it's important to build confidence as a spiritual practitioner, as just an individual living here on this planet, connecting with spirit. Wherever you're at, it's a number one thing to have. And if you're here, you're curious, you're a light worker, that's enough. You're building the light. I get so many clients who often come to me who are really worried that they aren't doing enough and that they can't truly call themselves light workers. And it is so much more simple than we tend to tell ourselves. And that's also where the confidence comes in. You are building the light simply by being curious and exploring these different spiritual passions that you have. Or maybe you're just focusing on one right now. Whatever you're doing, that curiosity is enough. You are a light worker and you are in the position to step forward and to be spreading the light. When I say spreading the light, that means passing it on by simply being you, or by more actively taking on a role as a teacher or a guide. So, whether you do feel that you are at the point where you want to take on a more active role of being a teacher, of being a guide, of being someone who is openly sharing your spiritual practices and what you are learning from spirit, or if you're simply someone who is just working on their own individual personal path of communicating with spirit, and you need that confidence as you go on that journey too. This is all for all of you. Because confidence, as we all know, is absolutely something that needs to be practiced like any other habit out there. So the number one thing that I always recommend to people in terms of building confidence, and something that really helped me as an individual who used to be extremely shy. I still am shy to certain degrees. I'm a very introverted person naturally, as many of you know, because I've definitely mentioned it before. What helped me when I was training to be a teacher, which really challenged me to be extremely extroverted and really out there and be able to easily connect with the students I was working with without having all my walls of just being really shy and introverted suddenly jump up in front of me, was self-reflection. That's a huge, huge, huge thing for building confidence and getting yourself into a space of stepping forward, whether it's on your individual path with communicating with spirit or moving toward sharing your gifts with others. You need to self-reflect. And that comes with another thing that I talk about often, which is journaling. I know, it's like this catch-all thing. And it's wonderful because it gives you a written record that not only can help you when your ego perhaps gets in the way and you're at that space where you're working on just trusting in your intuition, having a written record of things, be it your goals or just your stream of consciousness thoughts or things that you picked up from spirit, is so, so, so wonderful. But it's also great because it helps us to focus. And yes, we are all very different. And when I talk about the spiritual community generally being made up of very creative individuals, this is me putting a very broad brush around things because there are certainly people who are very logical and extremely organized, and they have this even better than I do. But hey, that's the wonderful spectrum of people that we're all around. But journaling is so important for those of us in the spiritual community because it's very easy to find a particular area in the spiritual community and be like, ooh, I'm really fascinated in crystals, or oh, look, those oracle cards, I'm really fascinated with those, or oh, pendulums, I'm fascinated with that, or ooh, just working on strengthening my clairs, I'm fascinated with that, or going into like different healing modalities even, that's a whole other area. So there are so many different areas in the spiritual community that all of us very easily can end up focusing too much on all of them and find ourselves really, really stretched and strapped. And you want to make sure that you are focusing on one thing at a time. It goes back to how confidence is a habit to be practiced and how any habit needs at least 30 days to really, really stick. So that's where having a journal helps. And the type of journal that I'm specifically thinking of is something known as a bullet journal. And there are many people out there who have done things that are even more detailed and more organized and more artistic than what I've done. But what I found to work really well for me, because I like repurposing things, I found an old book on the side of the road, and I have simply pasted on pieces of paper and done sections like that one I just showed you that has the list of all the projects I want to get done for the whole year. And then I have sections like this that have every single one of the months of the year with their own page and that little calendar so that I can specifically keep track of certain personal deadlines, and also going into monthly goals that I know it's probably a little hard to see all of the other things underneath the monthly goals, but I have things for the projects in the month, the things I want to practice, the things that I want to learn, the events that I'm doing, and my entertainment, my fun stuff, because everything can't just be work. So mine's pretty straightforward. You don't have to have anything more complicated than that, honestly, although if you love that kind of thing, go research it. The bullet journaling is an amazing sphere, but you could also really easily fall down that well. But I bring it up because it is so good for keeping things organized. And it really, really ties in to the other two points that I want to make about building confidence, which is self-love and acceptance. So many of us in the spiritual community, and just in general, honestly, because we're all human and it's very much a human trait, we all want everything to be perfect, and we all want to be our best at things, and we all get really, really hard on ourselves. And this is a journey. There is no end to it. So having a bullet journal like that, just using a journal in general, is so important for maybe having a month where you put down 20 things that you want to get done, and then you maybe only get 5 of the things done, or maybe 10 of the things done. And at the end of the month, reflect on why. Perhaps it was because there was a lot of other things happening in your life in that month. This whole year has been a crazy one for all of us, and I've put an asterisk on this year and just said, this year, all the things that I plan to do, I'm not going to stress about having got them done or not, because there's been this whole chunk of months where our day-to-day lives have been totally upended, and just sitting in that space of, whoa, our regular day-to-day lives have been upended, our societies have gotten upended, and just sitting in that space and focusing on that in the moment is more important than all the projects and goals and work that we may have planned to do for this year, and hence the asterisks, and putting it aside until next year. And not beating myself up over it. That's that self-love again. In the journaling that you're doing, using affirmations is wonderful for that if you're the sort of person who really likes to do affirmations. For example, every single month I have listed off an affirmation. So right here at the bottom, I have an affirmation. And that particular month I said, I seek, find, and apply learning to my best and highest good. That was my particular affirmation for that month, kind of my theme for that particular month, which in fact did go a little bit off the rails because that was in the middle of the peak of the things that happened to us in 2020. But again, that's part of acceptance, and just recognizing that sometimes for all the wonderful planning we do, other things happen, and we've just got to say, well, that happened, and I'm just going to accept it. I'm going to let go of the things that I wasn't able to do, and I'm going to move on. And in general too, outside of all those big life things that happen to us, just remembering that we all go at our own speeds, and we do all have our own niches. So not all of us are going to be doing what I'm doing. And we all can't. We all have our own niches. And that goes right back to what I was saying about how all of you are light workers. Just because you're here, because you're curious, you are a light worker. You are spreading the light. You are building the light simply through that. And just being you is building the light. So you don't have to go out and be an active teacher or guide. But again, because this video is kind of hitting the spectrum of things, for those of you who are wanting to move into really stepping forward to being a teacher, to being a guide, to really, really, really amping up your communicating with spirit to that next level, there's a few other practices that you can absolutely be doing that are so helpful for building that confidence and getting you to step forward. And it starts with the practice. Surprise, surprise. Practicing specifically with friends or family, if you have friends or family who are open to whatever you are doing. If you don't have any friends or family who are open to what you are doing, start a group. And even if you do, start a group. Starting a group is honestly the number one best thing that any of you can do in terms of stepping forward. Because again, we're all very different. We all vibrate at different frequencies, and there is going to be even one other person, honestly, there'll be 10 other people at minimum, who will resonate with you and who will want to be within your sphere, within your community. So starting a group on any social media platform, although Facebook's probably the best one at this point in time for creating a group, just because it allows for creating events and lives and so many other things. But start a group. And in that group, then post as often as you can. I'd say every other day at least. And just post about things that you are passionate about. Post videos that you create, post lives that you create, post channelings that you do. Post questions. Posting questions is wonderful because that starts discussions. And if you're not feeling like you're ready to start a group yet, just start discussions. Find groups that you're in and people in those groups that you resonate with and start discussions with them. Reach out to other people. I know that's something that is terrifying, even though it's online and it's a totally different level from face to face. It's still that terrifying thing, but just reach out. And if the person doesn't reach back, that's okay. They're not resonating with you at this point in time. There'll be somebody else. So reaching out and sharing is so important because then it creates that space where you can practice. And that again, that's part of that habit that confidence is. It's that habit to practice and build. And I've talked about this already, but setting goals and having people hold you accountable is also really important. So again, if you're able to rely on friends and family to hold you accountable to whatever next step you are wanting to take, use them. Or use a bullet journal. So those are the general practices that you can do in terms of building confidence within yourself as you are individually working to build your communication skills with spirit or building towards stepping forward as a guide or a teacher, sharing your gifts in the community. But most of all, I just want to remind all of you to let go of perfection and let go of the need to make a living. I get a lot of clients who come to me wanting to start up groups, to start up business pages, to create websites, who feel like doing this will then allow them to bring in the money like that. And that puts a wall up because in your head you have the I need to make a living, I need to make a living, I need to make a living. And the second you say I need to, a giant wall goes up instead of being open to it and just telling yourself that I am living this, this is my living. Saying I need then makes the thing so much more desperate. And it also makes the thing so much less fun. And it's so exciting to get to talk with spirit and connect with spirit and explore the things that they know beyond our comprehension. All the time, I am always blown away and surprised. And that's the bedrock of everything I do. I do it because I love it. I enjoy it. It is my passion. It is my living. I am not making a living from it. It is my living. That's how you want to word it. So that then, yes, absolutely, the doors are much more open for you to then have that path of making a living from your passion. It all comes down to that wording again, which goes back to that journaling and practicing with your words, letting go of those words that are running around in your head, and so much more. So that is really, at its heart, all you need to do for building your confidence and stepping forward. I know a lot of it probably comes across as seeming really self-explanatory, but again, there are so many times that I do get clients who come to me and they're just a giant bubble of, I don't know where to start, I don't know what to do, I don't know where to go. And it starts with that one step of just journaling out your passions, of journaling out your goals. And then pick one thing and focus on it. And if that means you take a whole year before you happen to start a group, or a whole year before you are hearing spirit, that's okay. We're all going at our own paces. And I'm honestly always really, really excited to see where people are at. And I've been having people sharing in the comments about where they're at with connecting with spirit. So again, as I've said in other videos, I would love to hear where you are at on your journey with connecting with spirit, who you have connected with, how you are connecting, and specifically as related to this video, if you have started with any journaling, if you've tried the bullet journaling, if you have a group that you've started on Facebook or maybe on Instagram or over on Discord or some other platform, I always love hearing about those as well, because there are never enough groups out there, because there's so many of us. So with that, I wish all of you a wonderful rest of your Saturday and so much joy and passion in your journey as lightworkers. So until next week, when I will be doing a session that'll be really, really focusing in on sensing energy. So I will be calling in a couple different beings and give you guys a chance to practice along with me with sensing energy. So I'm really excited for that. That's one of my favorite things to do. It's something that I do on the side, practicing with people one-on-one, with calling in different energies and really working on building each individual's own connection with spirit. So I'm excited to be doing it very generally with all of you next week. So until then, have a wonderful rest of your day and goodbye for now.